Hey guys, and welcome to the brand new Kia EV3. This is a very exciting new electric car from Kia that I think a lot of people have been waiting for because of the size, the space, and the price. So today we have this prototype here in aventurine green is the color. This is a GT line. It's a car that we can't drive because it is a prototype, but the exterior and the interior should be very close to production. So in this video, I'm going to give you guys a full tour and my review of this, the new Kia EV3. Horde lets you become the boss of your own economy. The app will show you how much debt you have across different creditors, and you can even refinance inside the app so you can collect that debt in one place to get lower interest rates and lower monthly costs. Get a free non-binding quote today through the app and become the boss of your own economy. Use the referral code LRIFA to get 500 points, which you can use in the reward store or towards your debt. A huge thanks to Horde for sponsoring this video. So what's really cool about this EV3 is that in many ways it is a mini EV9. It has, the new design language of Kia that we saw with the EV9. And the EV9 is one of my absolute favorite electric cars. We have actually two of them here in the background and they look awesome. And I think the new design language on this much smaller, because this is a much smaller car than the EV9. This is only 4.3 meters long, so this is a subcompact SUV. But I think that new design language, especially in this GT line trim, works very well. This new Starlink or Star design headlights, this new aggressive front end, with this black trim here, the Kia logo, it just looks very nice, very purposeful, and very modern. So let me know what you guys think of this design in the comment section down below. Do you like it? Don't you like it? What do you think about this green color? I think it suits the car very well. It is a very interesting color. And yeah, I think if I were to buy one of these, I would probably spec it this color. So from the profile view of this car, you can see how upright and how angular this design is and how much it reminds of the EV9. As I said, this is a very small car. It's 4.3 meters long, it's 1.85 meters wide, and only 1.56 meters tall. The wheelbase is also very short at 2.68 meters, only about 3 centimeters more than the Volvo EX30, though on the exterior it's even longer than that car compared to the wheelbase. So it's going to be really interesting to see how much space this has on the interior compared to that EX30. But looking at it here, it does look more angular, it looks bigger, even though it's not much bigger than that EX30. And I actually like the design. Maybe the EX30 is a little bit more elegant. And I'm talking about the EX30 because price-wise, this is very close to the EX30. The starting price is a little bit more, but it also has a bit more range, and also there's a big battery pack version of this in the long range that gets more than 600 kilometers of WLTP rated range. So it's front wheel drive built on the eGMP platform. It's 400 volts. So you're not going to get, the charging speed like the EV9s we have in the background, or we have the new EV6 also here, which are also on 800 volt architecture. So even though it's on that platform, to cost cut, to get the price down to a competitive price, this is 400 volts. And that means you're going to get 100 kilowatts of peak charging speed in the small battery pack version, the standard range, and then the long range version, you're going to get 135 kilowatts of peak charging speed. So it's going to do 10 to 80% in about 30 minutes, which is, the norm for this class of vehicle, but you can't expect too much with a car that's starting from about 36,000 euros in the EU zone and about 359,000 kroners in Norway with a heat pump. I do like the front end and also the profile of this car a lot, but I think the rear end is very beefy and maybe my favorite angle. It just looks really chunky and massive, and it just makes this car look really, just butch and masculine. And yeah, it just, carries the new Kia design language really well. And also like, you know, these taillight designs here, crossing over that Starlink or that Starblade design. And yeah, this has, you know, the panoramic sunroof, which we're going to look at once we get into the cabin, and I'll show you that, and also hidden door handles here. So the overall design of this EV3, I think it's pretty modern and pretty cool. Kia do a lot of funky designs that, you know, may be a little bit out there, but also like looking at the cars around us here, they do age very well. So I've talked about the Volvo EX30, which is, you know, one of this car's main competitors, and you may argue that Volvo is, you know, a premium, a luxury brand, and Kia isn't. And that may as well be true. And I haven't driven this car yet, and I don't know how it drives, but, you know, from looking at this from the exterior, looking at it from a value proposition, looking at it from the battery pack size, the charging speed, the range, the equipment you're getting, the space, you know, it is a natural competitor to the EX30 because that isn't very expensive. But what this has on the inside is there's a lot more happening. I mean, it is, you know, maybe minimalistic compared to other cars, but it still has, you know, physical buttons for the HVAC. You have, you know, shortcut buttons here. You have a volume knob there. You have a lot of, you know, buttons on the steering wheel. You have your gear selector here. You have your traditional stocks. You have, you know, traditional window switches. You have more buttons here, USB-C ports there. You even have, you know, dedicated buttons on the door for your heated seats, your cooled seats, memory settings, your heated steering wheel. Down here you also have an array of buttons on the roof. So I mean, it's the polar opposite of the EX30, where that car has removed most of its buttons and everything is done by a touchscreen. And I think this is a much better approach because, you know, for making a car, you know, where everything is on a touchscreen, you do have to make the infotainment system, the software experience, just, you know, flawless. And in my experience, no car has been able to do software flawless. And I also think, you know, that's maybe where also like Kia and, you know, the sister company Hyundai have been, you know, their weak points has been in the infotainment system, where they haven't had the best infotainment systems. This is the new infotainment system, so it carries the screens and the new UI from the EV9, which is a much of an improvement over, you know, the old generation from the EV6. Still not one of my favorites, but, you know, combined with physical buttons, I think this is a nice place to spend time. It's easy enough to use, and you don't have to go into the menu, you know, to adjust your volume. If you're as a passenger, like you have to do with a Volvo EX30, you don't have to, you know, touch the screen to adjust the temperature or the fan speed like you have to do with the Volvo. And sitting from here, like the interior materials, yeah, I think the Volvo is probably a little bit nicer from an interior perspective, like visually, but this is also really nice. Like, this doesn't feel cheap at all. And also these seats, you know, granted this is the GT line with this, you know, simulated leather, it feels really nice, and it is very, very spacious up front here. I have, you know, generous headroom. I have a lot of knee room, leg room here. Also, you know, there's no center console here. Yeah, you have this armrest here. I don't know why you should flip that up. Maybe you can move this. Yeah, you can move this. This is like a flat surface, so if you want to do writing, you want to have an iPad, maybe you want your laptop here working while you're, you know, charging. It's a really nice space. So it seems really thought out. And generally, quality and yeah, seating position is pretty nice and pretty decent. I could get really comfortable here. So let's hop in the back. I have my seat set to my position, and let's see how much room I have behind myself, because in the EX30, I can barely fit behind myself. So this is the big question, and as you can see, I mean, there isn't massive amounts of room, but considering the length of this car, the size of this car, yeah, I don't know, I have about this much. I'm 5'10", 5'11". I have, you know, decent knee room. I mean, that's comfortable. In the X30, I'm already touching the seat back, and also a headroom. It's okay. Like, there isn't much, but I'm sitting comfortably behind myself. As I said, I'm about 180 centimeters, 5'11", and I can fit comfortably here. There's even space for my feet underneath, you know, the front seat. even the cushion is set at a decent height. So yeah, unless you're like close to like 190 centimeters, I don't think you're gonna struggle in the rear seats. Also, materials seem to be, completely fine. There are even heated rear seats. You have, USB-C ports here, and it's kind of like stage seating, so you have a really nice view. So I think kids in the back here are going to be, really, really happy because you can see, out of the front window. The door sills aren't too high. Yeah, and also that panoramic sunroof is also in the front, so it's a little bit dark here, even though this has a light colored interior. I would have preferred if this had, a full glass roof, which I think you can get in that EX30. But yeah, overall, pleasant rear seats. I mean, this isn't bad. It's actually pretty impressive for being such a small car. Yeah, I do like those rear lights, and also this green color is pretty interesting. This being the GT line, you get that piano black or black painted details around the fenders, lower part of the doors. You also, get black painted mirrors and also the roof. That's standard on all cars, but this would be matte black on everything else than the GT line. You also get these really sporty wheels, and you get a little bit more of a sporty and aggressive front end. Also, the front light signature, you can compare it to the EV9 here. I still think that EV9 is a really cool and spectacular looking car. This is kind of like a mini EV9, not as cool, not as nice, but you're paying a lot less money. Also, there's a frunk. I want to show you guys the frunk. It also has the same door handles. Not my favorite, these ones that come out like that. So you pull once. Yeah, just once, I think. And let's open the frunk here. This is 25 liters. Oh, there's a latch here. Oh, but there are struts, so that's nice. Yeah, so this is the frunk, 25 liters. Not very big, but enough to keep your charging cables. You have your washer fluid over there, and then this is your 12-volt battery. Not a lot of things to see here. Let's close this. Yeah, just slabs like that. But what I want to show you guys is the trunk. So this has the biggest trunk in its class. Where do we open it? There we go. So this trunk is 460 liters, and if I'm not mistaken, I think the trunk in the EX30 is like 326 or 318. So this is a lot bigger, and it shows. Like, it's impressive, the packaging of this car is not a lot bigger on the exterior than that EX30, but there's a lot more room in the front cabin, in the rear seats, and also here in the trunk. I think you can get a child's buggy here easily. Yeah, this is quite impressive. The amount of space they have managed to squeeze into this small Kia EV3. So there we go, guys. That was my full tour of the EV3 on the exterior and on the interior. And hopefully at the end of like November, I'm gonna be able to get my hands on a press car and test drive this. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be nice to drive. It's not gonna be, anything worse than the e-Niro or the Niro Electric or the Kia Soul, which are, nice enough cars to drive. If it's anything close to the EV6, I think this is gonna be a winner. Is it gonna be as good to drive as that EX30? Well, that EX30 is really impressive. Comes with rear-wheel drive as standard. And even though it's soft, the steering is really sporty. The behavior of the drivetrain is relatively sporty. This, I don't think, is going to be as sporty like the steering feel in the EV6, EV6 GT, and the EV9 are one of the things I really don't like about Kias. But if you don't care about driving, if that doesn't bother you, I think even though if this doesn't have as sharp steering as that Volvo EX30, I don't think that's going to bother most people. Because the packaging you get here, the range, the price, the performance, the amount of space, the equipment levels, I think is really interesting. So guys, let me know what you think about the Kia EV3. Are you excited? Aren't you excited? So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please drop me a thumbs up down below. And for more car content, as always, please subscribe. See you guys later and goodbye.